Oh yeah, it's patwat time, baby. It's time for patwat. Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Trials and Tribulations. This music bangs. I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna throw on my my usual menu music while I was getting ready, while I was getting my coffee, and then I sat here for a second and I said, "This music is like really good. We're just gonna use this one. We're just gonna use this." Patwat. Well, hello. It's been a while. It's been, I guess, not too long, right? When was the last stream? Wednesday? Last Wednesday? It's been over a week. Might have even been last Tuesday. It's been a while. That's okay. I went and traveled. I saw Meep. I'm going to talk about that at some point. We went on a little adventure. Not really. I mean, it was an adventure, but it's not like a adventure. It's a nerdy adventure that we went on. It was fun. It was really fun. I started playing Pokemon. This is an oldie. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team. And I know that they made the remake, but I'm playing the OG on my Game Boy. Dude, that game bangs. That game rocks. Honestly, like, how big they make that game feel for what the Game Boy is capable of. That game's amazing. And the pixel art is so good. All of the sprites look so good. The story is so good. Dude, the original Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, they're special. I've never played the DS one. I am fairly certain it's the same game. Red Rescue Team and Blue Rescue Team. I'm almost positive it's the same game. Outside of a couple version exclusive like normal Pokemon games. Like the story's the same even though they're called Red Rescue Team and Blue Rescue Team and one's on the Game Boy and one's on the DS. Same game. So if you come across Blue Rescue Team, I highly encourage you to play it. Dude, the game, it's just so good. It's just so good. Boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. But that's enough of that. That's enough yapping about Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, because this is not a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon stream. This is a Pokemon Champion stream. No, I'm kidding. This is an Ace Attorney stream, a Patwat stream. The story thus far. We are about to go into day 1 of the trial. A retrial for our friend Maggie Bird here, who was found guilty her first time around the block. And the problem is that she was found guilty with a defense attorney that, I mean, everyone seems to think was me. I guess he looked like me, but he didn't talk like me, and he made quite the fool of himself. And so now we have to try and get her acquitted, and I'm pretty sure the guy who did the crime is also the fake me and had through the case so that someone else would get charged. There's a lot going on in this one. The defense attorney that we will be going up against, our client, Miss Maggie Bird. I spelled Maggie wrong. Can I change this? No, but I can at least pin a comment in the YouTube chat. I know I spelled Maggie wrong. I don't know how to change it. Well, there. Maybe it'll get some clickbait in here. Anyway, our victim, Glenn Elg, I learned... Well, I guess I can't really say I learned because I forget what the word is. But there is a word for when something is spelled the same way forward and backwards, and I cannot remember what it is. But he is our victim. Victor Kudo here is a regular at the shop that it happened at, the cafe, the French restaurant, whatever you want to call it. And then Jean Armstrong, Trebien's owner and chef, and he makes some pretty bad food and had a very large debt. Suspicious enough, since the victim here had just won a lottery ticket worth, I think it was $500,000. So interesting. Oh yeah, this guy also has a history of stealing from his restaurant's clientele. So not the most stand-up guy, if I'm being honest with you. And I think he may have something to do with what's going on. Boom, boom, boom. I hope to get through the entirety of the court case today. Not the case. The entirety of day 1 in court today. And then we can pick up the investigation on the next time. If the court doesn't take that long, we'll start the investigation today. But I doubt we get through both segments. Highly doubt it. Bo-do-dum, bo-dum, boom, boom. I see. I guess I should have expected this. Nobody saw the other guy, huh? But he was there when I took the coffee over, sir. Scout's honor. Maggie? Oh, Gumshoe. Okay, if you don't know, Gumshoe has a little bit of a crush on Miss Maggie BYRD here. Are you doing all right? How are you feeling? As if you need to ask either question, sir. Don't let him get you down, Maggie. And don't forget to eat well, okay? Roger. And you. Me? Yes? You'd better square this case away. Got it, pal? Maggie's innocent, you hear? I got it, pal. If you screw up, then I'll be doing some squaring away myself. Squaring away some paperwork for your arrest. We don't have to open that can of worms, Gumshoe. I'm fairly confident. Hey, detective. You're on our side for once, right? Yep. So you'll be able to help Maggie out, right? Really? Can you, sir? Of course. I've got the situation under control. I'm gonna be the first witness on the stand today. Okay. Gumshoe, I know how we can get in situations like this, and what I really need you to do is tell just the whole truth up there. I don't need you lying to try and protect Maggie. I can work with the truth. Just make my life easy up there, buddy, okay? If something I say doesn't mesh with the facts, make sure you point it out, all right? No. You should just say stuff that meshes with the facts off the rip here, detective. Then we don't have to worry about that. We're forming a united front today, pal. You get me? I get you, Gumshoe. Like Jordan and Pippen. I can't tell you how grateful I am, sir. I've always admired you so much, detective. I know I can count on you. Yow! Looks like it should all go pretty smoothly today, huh? I can only wish. Here we go. January 7th, 10 a.m., District Court, courtroom number 4, and a fresh cracked plain LaCroix. No flavor for me today. Court is now in session for the trial of Maggie BYRD. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Cup number 1. How many cups was it until he finishes the trial? I think he said 17 in the last case, which is a dangerous amount of coffee. Ah, bitter. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. Ah! What's wrong? Nothing. It's just whenever I addressed you in the previous trial, your response was, "You's talking to me?" Okay, I don't know how nobody saw through this guy's disguise. It doesn't seem like we are anything alike in the way that we talk about each other, but that's fine. It was a little, well, intimidating. Well, you rest assured, Your Honor, I'm on my best behavior today. We're gonna get along great, I'm sure. No, that wasn't me. That was the phony Phoenix. I see. So our trusty Phoenix Wright is back with us now, is he? Our trusty. So, you know what? Whatever you say, Your Honor. That's not what you were saying about me in the last trial, but that's okay. So, Mr. Godot, your opening statement, please. Mr. Trey, whether you're a fake or the real deal, we will find out soon enough through this trial today. But I can already tell you I am the real Phoenix Wright. I wasn't questioning whether you are Phoenix Wright or not. I was questioning whether you had studied law or not. That's what I intend to find out. There's no denying it. Behind that mask is a man who really hates me for some reason or another. I really hope we get a peek behind the mask at some point. It seems somehow these two know each other, and I cannot put my finger on it. Oh, I burned the roof of my mouth. Eating some pizza today. I couldn't wait. It looked too scrumptious, and it was too hot. As everyone is aware, the court has already given its verdict on this case once. Therefore, I won't stand for irrelevant testimony during this retrial. Nor will I stand for a simple repetition of the evidence presented in the last trial. I'm not planning on repeating anything that phony me said, trust me. Now then, Mr. Godot, please summon your first witness. Here we go, Gumshoe. Me and you, 1-2 punch, baby. Let's start with the formalities, shall we? Name and occupation. Gumshoe. Witness, state your name for the court. Huh? Oh, sorry, sir. The name's Police Department Detective. Occupation, Dick Gumshoe. Oh my gosh, he's fumbling up there. Get it together, man. Other way around, detective. Huh? Oh, sorry. Anyway, I'm the officer in charge of this case since yesterday, sir. Since yesterday? Yeah, the guy who was on the initial investigation's tied up with another case now. I hope Gumshoe's really got everything under control for everyone's sake and his own. I see. So, Detective Gumshoe, would you outline for the court the basic facts of the case? Yes, sir. The victim's name was Glenn Elg. He was a professional programmer. He was on the payroll of Blue Screens, Inc., a local company. This is the victim's autopsy report. The court accepts this into evidence. Glenn's autopsy, added to the court record, died of potassium cyanide poisoning. Time of death was between 1:30 and 2:30 p.m. And here are the floor plans of the restaurant. A small restaurant. 4 tables. People are not bursting through the door to get into this place. When the incident took place, the victim was sitting right here, back to the entrance door, facing the kitchen. The poisoned coffee was brought over to him by the waitress. The waitress being the accused. Yeah. The victim died from poisoning almost immediately after he took a sip of the coffee. Then how do we not know the time? I guess, how do we not know? Why is there an hour time frame in which the death could have been then? At the time of the incident, there were 2 other people in the restaurant. Mr. Gene Armstrong, the owner and chef, and a regular by the name of Mr. Victor Kudo. It still seems to be a very straightforward case to me. Trebien's floor plans added to the court record, blueprints of the crime scene. X is the victim's seat. Ew, it's so loud. I forgot to watch on the last court case video if you can hear his gulp, but I can whenever he drinks coffee. I hear gulp. Come, detective, take up this hammer and nail the defendant's coffin shut with your own 2 hands. Hello, Hollow. Welcome in. Cheering you on silently today because I'm at a hotel. Hope the case goes well. Sad I'm going to miss all your reactions. No worries. Thanks for being here. If you're traveling, I hope you're having fun. Now then, Detective Gumshoe, let's have your testimony. Yes, sir. The incident. When the incident took place, the victim was alone at his table, sir. We understand that the guy, Glenn Elg, was listening to the radio at the time. Traces of poison were found in his coffee cup. And what we found was potassium cyanide. That stuff really packs a punch. And it looks like Ms. BYRD might have had, well, some kind of motive. Using the dark, aromatic depths of coffee to conceal the poison? Classy lady. The facts of this case seem to be ironclad. We say that every case, Your Honor, and I prove you wrong literally every time. I would ask you to begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright, but... Yes? Please, no intimidation tricks this time around. Is that understood? It wasn't me, bro! It wasn't me! Here we go. When the incident took place, the victim was alone at his table. Let's look at our evidence really quick. We have the magazine clipping, an article from December 5th, says I was trounced and my client found guilty. Then we have the sports paper left by the victim. The doodle is in the victim's handwriting. A job listings magazine, which proved that this guy was, in fact, looking for a job and not some wealthy dude. The lunch special that just says that the food is bad. Gene's loan contract, which I think was about $500,000. The scooter ridden away by the fake Phoenix Wright that we met that looks actually nothing like me except spiky hair. Glenn's autopsy report, and the floor plan. When the incident took place, the victim was alone at his table. Can I stop you for just a minute? What is it? Did I say something that contradicts the evidence? He's so desperate for that to be true, he's practically crying. Your testimony just now doesn't match the testimony given by Ms. BYRD. She claims that there was another man at the victim's table. Yeah, that's what she said. And Oh, what killer wouldn't say that when faced with a homicide conviction? Hey, sadly, your testimony isn't supported by the owner or the other customer. Isn't that right, Detective Gumshoe? Yeah, it's true. Their two testimonies tie up on that. They both said there was no other guy at the table. What should I do? Should I press on this point a little harder or not? No, I want to press harder. Well, maybe the other witness just missed him. Perhaps their view of the victim's table was obscured in some way. Huh, that argument is as weak as the coffee at Tribulations, right? I have here in my possession a ticket. A ticket? Looks more like a photo to me. Yes, a one-way ticket to Guiltyville. Population, the defendant. This is a photograph taken from near the entrance to the kitchen. This is the scene as witnessed by the chef moments after the poisoning took place, correct? I think the court will agree that with such a clear view of the scene of the crime, how, Mr. Trite, could anyone have overlooked a second person at the table? Okay, you drive a hard bargain. It certainly seems to show the victim's table extremely clearly. Crime photo added to the court record, a photo of the scene taken from near the kitchen. We understand that the guy, Glenn Elg, was listening to the radio at the time. He was listening to his radio, you see. Yeah, he had a portable radio in his chest pocket. Maggie told us that too, didn't she? Something about how one of them had some sort of earpiece. What should I do? Press on this point harder? Yeah, we need all the info we can get. And what was it that the victim was listening to on the radio, Detective? Huh? How should I know? Thanks, Gumshoe. We're now one step closer to the middle of nowhere. This isn't going very well, is it? Detective, could you perhaps tell us about the poison and how it was used? Traces of poison were found in his coffee cup. So traces of the poison were found in the coffee cup alone and nowhere else? Not sure I get you, pal. Was the poison a liquid or was it a powder? If I had to put it in layman's terms, I'd say it was a powdery substance. So the poison could have been in anything that was on the table. Sugar, salt, pepper. Objection! Cup number 2. Do you put salt and pepper in your coffee, Trite? The victim took his coffee black with no sugar. It seems that the poison could only have been in the coffee. What should I do? Press on this one? Sure. Why not? Are you absolutely certain that the victim even drank any of his coffee? Huh? What do you mean? According to this file, the poison was found in the victim's coffee cup. But what proof is there that the victim ever drank any of it? Oh, hey, you're right. Go. In case you were wondering, that last objection was for the detective there. For me? Whoa. You may be fooling the court, but I'm not falling for it. If you have the time to waste, you have the time to present that piece of evidence. That piece, sir. Oh no. Oh no. Yes, that piece. What piece was it again? Don't let him push you around, Gumshoe. Make him do his job. This! Oh. Should I be grateful this coffee's only hot enough to give me a first-degree burn? Now I remember. This is the, victim's coffee cup. Yes, the victim's cup. Take a good look at the rim. Yes, it's unmistakable. There's clearly a coffee stain on it. Conclusive proof that the victim did drink the poisoned coffee that was in this cup. The victim gulped down the... Whoa. For the record, the only prints on the cup were the victim's and the defendant's. Coffee cup added to the court record. The coffee contained potassium cyanide covered in the victim and Maggie's fingerprints. Upon further investigation of this cup, we found a certain chemical substance. And what we found was potassium cyanide. Potassium cyanide? I've heard of that chemical before. Exactly how strong is this poison, Detective? It's, well, that stuff's lethal. Eat too much and you're history. How much is too much? It doesn't, enough to just dabble a cup of coffee. A lethal dose is 0.2 grams. That's about enough to finish anyone off. 0.2? How much is that? You know when you swab your ears for earwax? About that much. Earwax, huh? Sounds like something Gumshoe's got an abundance of. Such a small quantity of poison could have been concealed anywhere. And it looks like Ms. Byrd might have had some kind of motive. Some kind of a motive, huh? Yeah, but if you ask me, it's been blown way out of proportion. Objection! You know what my golden rule is, Detective? Chuck out a bad cup of coffee. You can always get another. That's a good rule, Godot. Huh? I don't get it. I'm saying we can always get another witness on the stand if we have to chuck you out. Okay, well, now I don't agree with you. So stick to the facts, Detective. Now then, what was Ms. Byrd's motive? Come on, Gumshoe. Give me something to work with. They said she wanted to steal a lottery ticket. I knew it. That's what we heard yesterday, too. It disappeared from the scene of the crime. And it wasn't just any lottery ticket. It was a winning ticket for $500,000. This is looking a little tough. Mr. Armstrong did know about the ticket too, didn't he? But he stole the wrong one. Then, is it possible Maggie stole the winning one? What should I do? We should press harder, Phoenix. Stop asking these questions. We have to keep pressing. He's given us nothing. Wait a minute. The mere fact that the lottery ticket disappeared in no way implicates my client. Huh. I have here in my hand the very ticket in question. Maggie, what did you do with the ticket? That's the $500,000 lottery ticket? One of the female police officers found it when she was conducting a search of the defendant. What? Gumshoe, that would have been nice to know! Order! Ha! She's quite a lucky bird, our little waitress. You will submit that ticket as evidence to the court immediately. I'd better keep an eye on that ticket. The way the judge's voice is quivering. Victim's lottery ticket. A winning ticket for $500,000 found during a body search of Maggie. This ticket was presented to the court in the previous trial, too. But it feels heavier now somehow. $500,000, you say? It's just a scrap of paper. What matters is where it was found, Your Honor. And that's on Maggie's person, unfortunately. That's enough. The facts of this case seem overwhelmingly clear to me. The defendant had ample opportunity to commit the crime of which she's charged. Furthermore, it seems beyond reasonable doubt that she did indeed commit this crime. I like an old man who knows the score. There is also the matter of the $500,000 lottery ticket. That alone provides a very credible motive. I mean, for that sum of money, even I might be tempted to bend the rules. Is that so, Your Honor? Is that so? I might be able to arrange something. Yeah, we can talk. I don't mind an old man who is weak to the siren call of money. Not good, Nick. The evidence against Maggie's starting to pile up fast. Yeah, that's because the court's ruled guilty once already. Is this his 4th cup? He's going through them today. I'd say it's about time to wrap up this repeat performance with one final, decisive piece of evidence. He's got more evidence? This is the apron the delightful Ms. BYRD was wearing at the time. Wow, that's not the cleanest apron I've seen. That stain looks like... It can't be blood, can it? But he was poisoned. I guess maybe coughing up blood? Ha! It seems the star of our play was a little flustered. And somehow spilled coffee on herself. The coffee? That's not exactly the first thing that caught my eye. Of course, the coffee stain isn't the most interesting thing about this apron. No, there's something else that stands out even more. Something else? I presume you mean... Of course. I'm referring to the pocket. I'm sure we'll get to the blood eventually. You're saving the best for last. The pocket. A search carried out right after the incident uncovered this. Potassium cyanide. Okay. I stand corrected. That is a little more interesting than the blood, isn't it? Maggie! Oh, Ms. BYRD. The very poison used by the killer was in her apron pocket. A bottle of poison in Maggie's pocket. Yeah, and Maggie's prints were the only ones on it. That's tough. Order! The court will accept these items into evidence. Why is there blood on there, though? Okay, the thing is, he was poisoned, so unless he's coughing up blood, there shouldn't be blood on this apron. So what else are we missing, and why didn't Godot bring it up? Worn by Maggie at the time of the incident, has a small pocket but big stains. Potassium cyanide added to the court record. A deadly, powdery poison bears Maggie's fingerprints found in her apron pocket. There's something still bothering me, Mr. Godot. Why have you not explained the blood stain to the court? Blood stain? What blood stain would that be? Don't play games, prosecutor. The blood-covered stain that's smeared all over the apron. That's ridiculous. No one told me anything about a blood stain. Oh, he didn't know? You don't need to be told. Oh. So he can still see it. Oh, he's mad now. Well, detective. Could this stain really be blood? No way, sir. It's just ketchup. That tracks, though. Because I didn't see anything about him getting hit with an object. She must have gotten some on her apron while taking some on their breakfast that day. You could have spoken up a little sooner, Detective Gumshoe. Don't talk to him like that. No one asked. No one asked. Be nice to him. He's going through a lot right now. Pull a stunt like that again, and I'll have you drink 17 cups of ketchup, witness. Sounds like my worst nightmare. I hate ketchup. I haven't had ketchup in over 10 years. I actually cannot even stomach to look at it. It makes me woozy. Oh, God. That sounds like a terrible punishment. I thought everyone knew what it was already. I haven't seen anything yet to make me doubt the last ruling I made on this case. The motive, the opportunity, and the supporting evidence, they've all been clearly established. Well, Trite, it seems you really are a phony after all. Okay, you really know how to drive a man nuts. Witness, please continue with your testimony. Describe for the court the crime scene and the findings of your investigation there. What have we got, Gumshoe? The crime was reported at 2:25 by a kind of scary old man, sir. I'm gonna assume he means Victor Kudo. Poor Maggie had passed out from the shock. It must have been real tough for her. The victim didn't have any identification on him, but we figured out who he was pretty quick, and then the investigation went smoothly. When Maggie was searched, we found the lottery ticket in the bottle of poison. And that was it. There was nothing else missing from the crime scene. Is that so? You identified the victim and secured your prime suspect. Very good. Last chance to convince the court you're a real lawyer, Trite. Don't count on any more cross-examinations after this one. So let the fun begin. Alright, well then we're gonna have to knock this one out of the park. I do have somewhat of an idea of where I should go. The crime was reported at 2:25 by a kind of scary old man. Scary old man, detective. There's an old man who's a regular at the restaurant where the incident happened. We're obviously talking about the same old man. Officers were dispatched right after the record came in, but the old guy still made a fuss. What took you so long? Then he hurled abuse at them. And seeds. Seeds. Ha! It was nothing. I caught each one with my teeth. Impressive. I guess not even the mighty Godot can avoid being attacked by that guy. The old man was the only other customer in the place at the time. He took his time finding a payphone, apparently, so he was late reporting the crime. Poor Maggie had passed out from the shock. It must have been real tough on her. Ah! Excuse me. I kept doing mini yawns. I had to get the big one out of the way. Holy moly. How long was the defendant unconscious for? The officers got to the crime scene at around 2:40. Maggie was still out cold in the kitchen at the time. It took another 10 minutes or so before she came to. I would have liked to have been on the scene myself. I bet you would have liked to carry out the search too. I would have loved to see Maggie asleep like that, all pretty and peaceful. Gumshoe, not the time. She's sitting right over there. Shoot your shot with her after we find her innocent. You're a professional detective, Gumshoe, not a professional bird watcher. Save the romantics for your own time, detective. All we need to know about is the investigation. Oops, I guess I'm pretty red right now, aren't I? The victim didn't have any identification on him. He didn't have any. Are you saying that it was stolen? No, I don't think so. The victim didn't have a driver's license or even a credit card on him. Then how was he going to pay for the restaurant? That's the first red flag. All he had was 58 cents in his wallet. 58 cents? That's not even enough to buy SpongeBob from Mr. Krabs. Yeah, I can't believe I found someone with less in their wallet than me, pal. The victim sounds like he was a thoroughly miserable young man. Or some kind of outlaw. Why not give him a bit of an edge? I think I'm onto something here. How could he have afforded the $20 lunch set if he only had 58 cents? But we figured out who he was pretty quick. Wait a sec. Huh? Did I say something dumb again? Let me paraphrase what you just testified to the court. The victim didn't have any form of ID on him. That's basically what you said, yes? Yeah, basically. In that case, how were you able to identify the victim so quickly? Oh, that. He's so let down, he's got the whole sagging shoulders and puppy eyes thing going on. There was a prescription bag on the victim's table along with the lottery ticket. It seems Mr. Glenn Elg visited his doctor before he went to Tribulations. We got the victim's name from the medical records of the doc who prescribed the meds. And that's a reliable enough source for the court. Should I leave this alone or ask to hear more? Ask about the prescription bag or about his health insurance? Well, we'll start with the prescription bag. So what sort of medicine was in the bag? Well, actually, the bag we found was empty. Completely empty. Did he take it all in one go? It was completely empty. Victim's prescription bag added to the court record. The victim got this from the doctor before going to Tribulations. The bag is empty. Ha! You're entering an empty paper bag as evidence. Desperate, are you, Trite? Now, what happened with the investigation after that, detective? When Maggie was searched, we found the lottery ticket and the bottle of poison. But the defendant had been passed out for a while, correct? In that case, isn't it possible someone planted the evidence in Maggie's pocket? Yeah, you nailed it, pal. It happens to me all the time. It does? That's concerning. We had a department party the other day, and when I got home, I was wearing the boss's shoes. That seems... Now, I don't think that's the same thing. I feel like that... Gumshoe, I think you just put those on... But I don't think... I don't know if those are this... I don't think that's the same situation. I don't think that's comparable. Keep up this crazy testimony, detective, and those shoes will end up down your throat. Sorry. So, trite. Someone planted the evidence in Maggie's pocket. That's a pretty bold statement. Care to back it up with some evidence? Well, I'd love to, if I had any. It appears you have no evidence to support your theory, Mr. Wright. Continue with your testimony, witness. And that was it. There was nothing else missing from the crime scene, huh? So the $500,000 lottery ticket and the bottle of poison were accounted for. Yeah. Interesting. It's true that those two items are accounted for, but wasn't there another lottery ticket that was stolen that day? Yeah, the one the restaurant owner took. He won a whole dollar with it. Lucky guy, huh? I don't think he's saying that right now. And they're just going to let him get away with it. He has to give that dollar back to the court. It was just $1, detective. I guess no one cares when it's that little. But the problem is he thought it was the ticket for the $500,000. I feel like we're really floating over this. This guy seems pretty guilty. If I don't find a hole in this testimony, the judge is going to hand down his verdict. Gumshoe isn't giving us anything to work with, and we can't find any contradictions if he doesn't give us something. That's true, but Maggie and Gumshoe are like dumb and dumber. Our only hope is that they were so dumb they missed something obvious. Well, that's a little harsh. He's trying his best. Come on, Gumshoe. Be the dumbest you've ever been. Okay, there's two things that flag me immediately as very strange. We figured out who he was pretty quick. No, it was the fact that he didn't have his wallet on him. He didn't have any identification, and he had 58 cents on him. So how was he going to pay for the lunch that he ordered? Or even the coffee. 58 cents is not enough for a coffee. Or there was nothing else missing from the crime scene. Nothing. Which, as of right now, does track. I can't present anything that's missing. So I think I might be onto something here. The victim didn't have any identification on him. And then I think... But we figured out who he was pretty quick, and then the investigation went smoothly. I think this is where I have to... Didn't have any. Are you saying it was stolen? Oh, you know what? I do want to know about his health care. But that's what I'm going to object on. I think this was this dialogue option. Da-da-da-da. Prescription bag, which we already know about. When Maggie was searched, we found the lottery ticket and a bottle of poison. Oh, okay, so we can't go back and ask about the healthcare. Dang. Okay, the victim didn't have any identification on him, so he couldn't pay for his meals. Damn it. What do you think about the witness's statements? I'm not sure I follow you. It clearly contradicts... Okay, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. Objection denied. Okay. Ball up top. The crime was reported at 2:55. Or 2:25, I'm sorry. So then, this has to be wrong. I'm going to come back to this. I think this is a pretty good lead right now. Time of death was between 1:30 and 2:30. But if the crime was reported at 2:25, shouldn't this have said that the time of death was between 1:30 and, like, I don't know, 2:15? So that's something that immediately flags me as a little off. Poor Maggie had passed out from the shock. that's true. The victim didn't have any identification on him. Now, hang on. I would not say that. It's quite a stretch to call this identification. But we figured out who he was pretty quick, and then the investigation went smoothly. When Maggie was searched, we found the lottery ticket and the bottle of poison, and that was it. There was nothing else missing from the crime scene, and we've already touched on the dollar lottery ticket that this guy stole. There was nothing else missing from the crime scene. What else would have been there? A sports paper? I guess they wouldn't be like... Okay, I could present this here because the sports paper was left, and that is something that is not a lottery ticket and a bottle of poison. Or I could run it with the autopsy being between 1:30 and 2:30 and the crime being reported at 2:25. I generally like the numbers route. However, because it's a 5-minute difference, it does feel a little bit like a stretch. So I think our safer bet is going with this one here and objecting with the sports paper. And the judge hates me and it's not right. And I'm going to have to save scum after my first chance of doing literally anything in this case. Okay, it's save scum time, baby. All right. So, if that's the case, I do think that this makes sense. The crime was reported at 2:25 p.m. by a kind of scary old man. But the autopsy report says that he could have still been alive at 2:25. Come on. Nothing. Nothing. All right. Objection denied. Tough. What else do we need to... Where do they talk about his health care? I can't remember. And that was it. There was nothing else missing from the crime scene. What's this guy's bio say? Was in Tribulations at the time of the incident. And he has a thing for waitresses. If I don't find a hole in this testimony, the judge is going to hand down his verdict. Gumshoe isn't giving us anything to work with, and we can't find any contradictions if he doesn't give us something. They're like Dumb and Dumber. Our only hope is that they were so dumb they missed something obvious, and I am also that dumb because I can't find it. Crime was reported at 2:25 by a kind of scary old man. Anything to contradict this statement? None of this contradicts it. Maybe the floor plan. The victim was sitting at this table, I believe, in this seat facing the kitchen. Poor Maggie had passed out from the shock. It must have been real tough for her. The victim didn't have any identification on him. What's his bio say? Programmer. Maggie had apparently never even seen him before. But we figured out who he was pretty quick, and then the investigation went smoothly. Hold it. Are you saying that it was stolen? No. He didn't have a driver's license or a credit card. All he had was 58 cents in his wallet. I can't believe I found someone with less in their wallet than me. I think I'm onto something here, he says. I think I'm onto something here. I mean, I thought I was onto something too, Phoenix. We figured out who he was pretty quick, and then the investigation went smoothly. In that case, how'd you identify the victim? There was a prescription bag on the victim's table. We got the victim's name from the medical records of the doc who prescribed the meds. That's a reliable enough source for the court. And then they don't talk about the healthcare, so maybe that is not something that I'm able to go back in and look. So let's take a look at what we have on our agenda here. Crime photo. This is him dead. The coffee spilled over. The coffee contained potassium cyanide. A winning ticket for $500,000. Worn by Maggie at the time of the incident. Has a small pocket, but big stains. A deadly powdery poison bears Maggie's fingerprints found in her apron pocket. The victim got this from the doctor before going to Tribulations. The bag is empty. What was in it? I mean, I guess like meds, right? Maggie researched. We found the lottery ticket and the bottle of poison. And that was it. There was nothing else missing from the crime scene. What else would have been missing? The sports paper? MC Bomber? Ah, shoot. Gene's debt is $500,000. Written by my phony. Time of death between 1:30 and 2:30. How do we not know? That is such a wide range. Time of death. Coffee cup, victim's lottery ticket, apron, potassium cyanide, victim's prescription bag. Grr, okay. Crime was reported at 2:20. Phoenix says, I think I'm onto something here. The victim didn't have any identification on him. The victim got this from the doctor before going to Tribulations. I don't think this would work because they gave this to us after the fact, but I guess I could present it here. Oh no, because this doesn't even have his name on it. They just called the doctor. The victim didn't have any identification on him. Is there any ID here? No. Now hang on. Didn't have any identification. Sports paper left by the victim. Doodle is in the victim's handwriting. Maybe here. No. No, it's not there either. Load. Okay. I can't remember. Did I object on the last thing? Here's what, because here's what I'm thinking. There is nothing else missing from the crime scene. Did we find left by the victim? When Maggie was searched, we found the lottery ticket and the bottle of poison. But the defendant had been passed out for a while. In that case, isn't it possible someone planted the evidence? Which definitely did happen, right? I don't have any evidence for you. Nothing else missing from the crime scene. So the $500,000 lottery ticket and the bottle of poison were accounted for. Interesting. It's true that those two items are accounted for, but wasn't there another lottery ticket that was stolen? He won a whole $1 with it. Dang. Okay. This is where Phoenix thinks he's onto something. The victim didn't have any identification on him, but we figured out who he was pretty quick. And then the investigation went smoothly. Any evidence that shows that he did have identification on him. That's not the sports paper. Gene's debt is $500,000. The owner of the loan is tender lender. Klein's autopsy report. Anything that shows he did not, or that he did have identification on him. No, not here. The coffee contained potassium cyanide covered in the victim and Maggie's fingerprints, but that's not identification. A winning ticket for $500,000 found during a body search of Maggie. Has small pockets, but big stains. A deadly powdery poison. And a prescription bag? Man, we're starting off on a rough note here. This is tough. Okay. The victim didn't have any identification on him, but we figured out who he was pretty quick. And then the investigation went smoothly. And they said they found out who he was by calling the doctor that he had his prescription bag from. No ID is so weird. Maybe it's a profile I have to present. Was found guilty of murder thanks to the funny me. Maggie had apparently never seen him before. Was in Tribulations at the time of the incident. Tribulations' owner and chef has large debt and prior convictions for theft. I think I'm onto something here, he says. On this one here. Come on, shock my brain. He didn't have any. Are you saying it was stolen? The victim didn't have a driver's license or even a credit card on him. All he had was 58 cents in his wallet. 58 cents. I can't believe I found someone with less in their wallet than me. Victim sounded like he was a thoroughly miserable. I think I'm onto something here. But we figured out who he was pretty quick, and then the investigation went smoothly. I'm so close. Wait a sec. Let me paraphrase what you just testified to the court. The victim didn't have any form of ID on him. That's basically what you said. Basically. In that case, how were you able to identify the victim so quickly when he had no form of ID on him? There was a prescription bag on the victim's table with the lottery ticket. Mr. Glenn Elg visited his doctor before he went to Tribulations. We got the victim's name from the medical records of the doc who prescribed the meds. That's a reliable enough source for the court. When Maggie was searched, we found the lottery ticket and the bottle of poison, and that was it. There was nothing else missing from the crime scene. The lottery ticket, check. The bottle of poison, check. That was it. There was nothing else missing from the crime scene. Died of potassium cyanide poisoning. Time of death between 1:30 and 2:30. There's nothing else missing from the crime scene. A photo of the scene taken near the kitchen. We got this in court. We got this in court. This in court. This in court. This in court. Anything that we got outside of court. Objection! Oh, I'm grasping at straws now. This is hard. They've got me. I don't know if I'm getting worse at this game or if the cases are getting harder. No Google. No Google. We're going to lock in and we're going to get it. Okay. Scary old man. An old man who's a regular. Officers were dispatched right after the report came in, but the old guy still made a fuss. What took you so long? Then he hurled abuse at them. The old man was the only other customer in the place at the time. He took his time finding a payphone, apparently, so he was late reporting the crime. He was late reporting the crime. And he reported it at 2:25, and he was late reporting it. If he's late reporting the crime, that means it probably discovered it at like 2 o'clock. This autopsy report is completely off if that's the case. Completely off. Completely. Grr. Gumshoe, work with me here, man. It's not enough. Dang it. And that was it. There's nothing. Okay. I really think it's here. I really think it's here. The victim didn't have any identification on him. We press him on it. He didn't have any. Are you saying it was stolen? No. The victim didn't have a driver's license or even a credit card on him. No driver's license. No credit card. Only 58 cents. He couldn't have bought SpongeBob. 58 cents. I can't believe I found someone with less in their wallet than me. The victim sounds like he was a miserable young man or some kind of outlaw. Why not give him a bit of an edge? And Phoenix says, I think I'm onto something here. They're literally telling me I'm on the right path and I can't figure it out. Okay. I think I'm onto something here. But we figured out who he was pretty quick by using the medical records from his prescription. Wait, the victim got this. The bag's empty. So if that's the case, that's not true that there's nothing else. Wait. There was nothing else missing from the crime scene. His entire prescription is missing from the crime scene. Come on! Oh, that one felt good. I knew I'd get there. I just had to keep repeating the same thing to myself literally over and over. Come on! Good stuff. Detective Gumshoe, I think I should point something out to you. There is just one small contradiction in your testimony. Oh, finally. I'm getting all anxious just waiting, so hurry up, will ya? You testified that nothing else was missing from the crime scene. However, the prescription bag you mentioned was empty. Did the officers recover the medicine from the scene of the crime later? No, they didn't. Oh! The victim was given a prescription right before going to Tribulations. Where, then, did the medicine disappear to? You are too cool, pal. That's me, baby. Ace Attorney. Indeed. Due consideration wasn't given to the victim's prescription in the previous trial. Witness, why do you always overlook such vital pieces of evidence? I guess that's the most careless thing I've done so far, huh? The victim was killed by poison, and the victim's medicine mysteriously disappeared. The victim's own prescription could have been the lethal poison itself. Interesting. Order! Well, Mr. Godot, what do you have to say to that? Huh. That's all. What? Read for the court the name of the clinic on the prescription bag, if you will. Anything but hotties. What's the clinic's name got to do with anything? New Ear okay, we're gonna get this one. We're gonna get this one. New Ear otolaryngological otolaryngological clinic. Close enough. Just what kind of illness was the victim suffering from, Mr. Godot? Hardly an illness, Your Honor. More like a bitter war wound, you could say. What? The day before the incident, Mr. Elg found himself in a fight. He took a blow to the side of his head and ruptured his eardrum. Then what on earth was the prescription he was given? It was a cream that was to be applied topically inside his ear canal, not to be ingested. But where is it? He used all of it? It's mentioned in the autopsy report if you read the fine print. They found traces of the medication in the victim's left ear. Yes, here it is, in very, very fine print. It seems Mr. Elg correctly applied some of his medication while he was at Tribulations. Therefore, it would be absurd to believe that he would have eaten his medication. It seems that this medication is irrelevant to the case after all. No, I don't know about that. It's still suspicious that he used it all in one go, right? If you don't think of something quick, Nick, it'll all be over. She's right, but I can't get away with any old weak objection. What should I do? We have to push the medicine issue. I feel like if we don't, we're gonna lose. Only moments ago, Mr. Godot made the following statement. It seems Mr. Elg correctly applied some of his medication while he was at Tribulations. If that's the case, then why was the medication not found at the scene of the crime? Thank you. There's no way he used it all. But the medication in question was for topical use inside the ear canal. Objection! That doesn't change the fact that it couldn't be found at the crime scene. However insignificant it may seem, it's a lawyer's duty to pursue the truth. Objection! You know as well as I do that the medication is irrelevant. It hardly seems likely a prescription drug would contain potassium cyanide. It hardly seems likely that the coffee the waitress served would contain it either. Get his ass, Phoenix! But it did. The possibility is undeniable. That's enough. Mr. Godot, is the detective the only witness the prosecution wishes to call? Mr. Godot. I've got my own witness I'd like to call, sir. No, not the old man. Someone get Mia on the phone. We might need her. It's the old man who was there in the restaurant on the day of the murder. Victor Kudo? The pigeon hater? Very well. The matter of the disappearing medication seems little more than trivial at best. However, it wasn't explored at all in the previous trial, and that is something that bothers me. Good job, Nick. Thank you, Maya. Thank you very much. The court will adjourn for a 10-minute recess, after which we will hear the prosecution's next witness. I suppose this means I'll just have to finish you off in my last 6 cups. Court is adjourned for recess. Let's go. January 7th, 11:03 a.m. Wait, holy smokes. So we were in court for an hour and 3 minutes because the trial started at 10, and the stream has been live for an hour and 3 minutes. It started at 7. That's kind of cool. Dude, we played that pretty well, huh? That's crazy. Lore accurate, by the way. Phew, that was close. Tell me about it. I nearly died in there. That's my line, sir. It's Maya's line. I think I really did die a little bit. Looks like we all nearly died in there. I can't believe Detective Gumshoe. How could he betray us like that? Wait, did he betray us? I thought he did pretty good up there. He said he'd help me. But he totally set me up. I don't think he meant to do that, Maggie. He was backed into a corner. I mean, the guy's got to do his job, right? It's okay. I know all about lies and betrayal. I've had them my whole life. Oh, Maggie, it's so sad. Oh, I also spelled Maggie Bird's last name wrong. Yeah, it's fine. But it really hurt this time. It felt like someone punched me hard in the stomach. I hate that guy. No, no. No, Maggie, you don't hate him. Oh, that's actually really sad. I don't ever want to see him again. Poor Gumshoe. So the next witness is going to be that old guy from the park, right? Yeah, Mr. Kudo. Lover of waitress outfits and projectile seeds. I bet he's going to be really stubborn. I mean, he's pretty set in his ways, you know? Yeah, he's a big old grouch. Are you going to be able to handle him, Nick? No, but you are. I can take whatever he throws at me, even those never-ending bird seeds. Maybe we're not going to call Mia. But I think things will go really smoothly if we did. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Maggie Bird. Mr. Godot, your next witness, please. The prosecution calls the lucky old-timer who caught the show over a cup of coffee. Will the witness please take the stand? Boom, 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 boom. Name and occupation, if you don't mind. The name is Victor Kudo. Born and bred in the land of the rising sun. Honor and duty are what makes me. Mind you, I can be quite emotional at times, too. We don't need to hear about that, Mr. Kudo. Just tell the court your occupation. My occupation? Listen, young'un. How much call do you think there is for kimono embroidery here? Kimono embroidery? That's what I do, or did, back in Japan. I embroidered family crests on kimonos. My ancestors were embroidering kimonos before this country even existed. A real craftsman. They're a dying breed. Hey, maybe he can embroider my costume sometime. That'd be kind of cool. Put my face on there or something. Anyway, like I said, there's not much demand for that kind of thing here. So I had to take a job working the cash register at a burger joint, pretending to smile. I can't imagine he puts on a very good fake smile. That burger joint would have been better off putting him in the kitchen. Now then, witness, were you in the restaurant at the time of the incident? Oh yes, I was eating some seeds over a cup of javachino. Seeds? What do you think these are, I see. So you saw everything that happened, Gramps? Did I? Yes, I did. I saw it all. Then please, tell the court. We're all ears. Sure. I'll tell you. Every last detail. He's really getting into this. Might have found this guy's hidden calling, public speaking. The young man was reading the sports paper. Okay. The serving girl brought him a javachino, but she put something in it. The man took one sip of it, looked like he was in terrible pain, and then collapsed. That's the serving girl right there in the defendant's chair. I remember her well. We only saw her backside, though, from that photo. I wonder. Mr. Kudo, she is not a serving girl. Please refer to her as a waitress. Ka, you're as bad as the rest of them. All these newfangled words. What's wrong with old-fashioned ones, Newfangled? All this talk of radios and glasses. It's wireless and spectacles, I tell you. Excuse me. Listen to me, everyone. Don't forget the old values. Don't let the good old days slip away. Well, I think it's time to begin the cross-examination, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. Gladly. Let's move on from that. What I witnessed. The young man was reading the sports paper. So you saw the victim then, Mr. Glenn Elg. I wanted to know if Guts and Brawn retained his championship or not. So he was looking at the sports paper the victim was reading, huh? And at the location in question. There are partitions between tables on the same side of the restaurant, right? So what if there are? If you say that you could see the victim, that means you were sitting at a table on the other side of the restaurant, correct? I go to that place to drink javachino. I don't go to sit. I don't remember which table I was sitting at. You mean you go there to eye the waitress? The serving girl brought him a javachino, but she put something in it. Interesting. So, you know, just something to keep in mind. I don't think this guy's guilty. I don't think he did it. But if he's sitting here, and the photo that we saw of the waitress bringing the coffee was from the backside, like from behind, the only time he would have had that view is after she dropped off the coffee. I don't know if I'm thinking too much into it. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. Mr. Kudo, that is a very grave accusation. Are you sure about what you saw? Victor Kudo never makes mistakes. I dot every T and cross every... I think it's the other... It's the other way around, Mr. Kudo. My eyesight's fine. The doctor said I only need spectacles for reading and driving. I bet his eyes are only really fine when he's scoping out a waitress, the weirdo. And I saw what the serving girl put in that javachino as well. I bet I know what's coming up, and something tells me I am not gonna like it. Your Honor, we need more clarification on what was put into the victim's coffee. I'd like to ask the witness to add what he knows about this to his testimony. I agree. Witness, will you enlighten us, please? Sure. There's no question about it. She very conspicuously put some white powder in there. Did she really put that into the coffee? You doubt me, boy. She took some out of it small brown bottle and sprinkled it in. Couldn't she have been adding sugar? Sugar! In a small brown bottle like that. Like that? Witness, could you please describe the bottle in more concrete terms? Ha! A bottle like this, perhaps? There it is. That's the one. Maggie, it's not looking good. That's a bottle of potassium cyanide, I presume? So what did the accused put into the coffee? I think it's clear, don't you? Not ideal. The man took one sip of it, looked like he was in terrible pain, and collapsed. He took just one sip. You youngins, you waste everything! Okay, well he died, bro! Those Javachinos cost $8. What is this, a Starbucks? That's insane. In the good old days, we would have drank every last drop, eaten the cup, and then died. Back in my day. Congratulations, you have earned the title of battiest man to grace a courtroom. A tough one to claim, considering all of the other witnesses that we have dealt with. So it was an immediate death. Well, with potassium cyanide, I suppose that is possible. Oh yes, he slumped over without so much as a twist. I felt the Javachino I just drank turn sour in my stomach. Well, I hope you finished it. I hope you didn't lose your appetite, having seen the man die in front of you. I hope you drank the coffee. Can't waste anything back in my day. Oh yes, I know that feeling. And the waitress, I presume she is... That's the serving girl, right there in the defendant's chair. You said I remember her well in reference to the waitress. Did she have any particular features that you can identify her by? Particular features? It's a disgrace, that's what it is. Huh? You can see all the way up the... hey, man, I don't think that is prevalent to the court of law at the moment. She's practically naked in that uniform. This dude's doing a lot of complaining about it when he goes there literally to be weird towards... Whatever. I hate this guy. So the particular feature you recognize about the waitress is her outfit. But anyone can wear just such a uniform. Even me. Mr. Wright, please spare the court of any further mental anguish. Sorry, Your Honor, I went too far. Don't get all excited, Nick. You've got to keep yourself together. I guess I got a bit carried away. There are other things I recognize about her, too. He seems pretty sure of himself. What should I do? Oh, if you recognize other things, I gotta know. Sure, you saw a waitress take the coffee over to the victim. But what matters is whether that waitress was Maggie BYRD or not. Quite right. Mr. Kudo, these other features that you recognize about the defendant, I would ask you to add them to your testimony. That's 2 things now we've added. There was a ribbon in her hair, and her apron's straps were loose. You do seem to remember several details about her appearance, but what about the most crucial detail of all, her face? Ka! As if I wouldn't remember that. Objection! The witness noticed the straps on the accused apron. He's unlikely to make a mistake about her face. That's right. I can even tell you the color of the ribbon in her hair. It was red. It's red. Dang it. I thought it was white. So you see, there's nothing wrong with the witness's eyesight. There's no doubt he remembers the waitress pretty well. What should I do? I get the feeling there's something more to this. Ask about the straps or ask about the waitress's back. We can't really see how tight the straps are in anything. Wait. No. This is the layout. No, we can't really see how tight the straps are. Ask about the waitress's back is interesting. The identifying features you just... Because this... I don't know. This doesn't really look like Maggie, but... It's the other girl! It's the scary girl! It's the one that we met and then she disappeared. Oh! Oh! Oh my gosh, that took me a second. I know exactly who this is. The identifying features you described are all things you would see from the back. So what? Is it possible that You never saw the waitress from the front at all? Objection! Ha! He's got you there, Gramps. People normally talk about the facial features when they're asked to describe someone. But this witness's testimony is nothing but straps and ribbons. This is harassment. I tell you I'm not obsessed with straps or ribbons. I'm just telling you what I saw. Mr. Kudo, the court requests that you add details about any identifying features you observed from the front, that is, to your testimony. This old man's testimony is getting longer and longer. I know, I'm starting to stress out. And if I can't find a hole in it soon, it'll get even longer, I bet. There wasn't anything that caught my interest about her when I saw her from the front. Okay. I don't know if that counts. You didn't find anything to be distinct, but you did clearly see the witness's face, yeah? No question about it. I didn't come this far to back down now. Victor Kudo never backs down. That's not the answer I was looking for, but okay. This has turned into a matter of pride for old CD now, I guess. I wonder if we really did see Maggie's face or not. Like I thought, we need some concrete proof of this. Proof that the old guy didn't see the waitress clearly from the front. Do you think old CD really saw Maggie do it? Well, he probably had his eye on the waitress the whole time. That's why he was there. But he was there for the cute outfits, right? Not the waitress. I guess. She makes a good point, though. Hey, did I just say something clever? Potentially. I wonder if the waitress Mr. Kudo saw really was Maggie. It wasn't. It was the weird girl. That's what we have to figure out. Okay, so there's two things that have been added to his testimony. She very conspicuously put some white powder in there. This was the first thing added. The second thing added was there was a ribbon in her hair and her apron straps were loose. And the third thing added was there wasn't anything that caught my interest about her when I saw her from the front. There was one other thing that we could press him on here. I don't know if it goes away or not. But if it doesn't, I would like the info. But it doesn't. There wasn't anything that caught my interest about her when I saw her from the front. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Alright, since I'm going to start presenting here, we have to prove that he did see her from the front. Right? Okay. No question about it. Proof that the old guy didn't see the waitress clearly from the front. What do we have that shows that? There wasn't anything that caught my interest about her from when I saw her from the front. It's just not possible. Again, I must remind you that if he's seeing someone sprinkle something in the coffee as they deliver it, I mean, I guess if he's sitting here and the waitress is here and facing this way, he would see her from behind. But if not, he would see her face. Like, the angle's all wrong. This guy doesn't know what he saw. There wasn't anything that caught my interest about her when I saw her from the front. Nothing that caught your interest. I wish I could ask if she was wearing glasses. The other thing he added to the testimony, again, was... There's no question about it. She very conspicuously put some white powder in there. Which would not be an odd thing for someone to put into coffee. People put sugar into coffee all the time. Did she really put that into the coffee? You doubt me? She took some out of a small brown bottle and sprinkled it in. That's the serving girl right over there. There was a ribbon in her hair and her apron's straps were loose. There wasn't anything that caught my interest about her when I saw her from the front. Alright, let's look through. Waitress at Tribulations was found guilty of murder thanks to the phony me. There wasn't anything that caught my interest about her when I saw her from the front. Oh, I wish I had the profile of the other girl. There was a ribbon in her hair and her apron straps were loose. Give me a full body shot of Ms. BYRD, please. Oh, this is becoming increasingly more difficult. There wasn't anything that caught my interest. I need to prove that this guy did see her from the front. We need proof that the old guy didn't see the waitress clearly. How can we prove this? Does this prove it in any way? No. 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 Proof that the old guy didn't see the waitress clearly from the front. I mean, I think the floor plans make sense. Right? Because he had to have been sitting here to read what the guy was saying. I think it might be this. It might be the floor plans. Coffee contained potassium cyanide. Oh! Duh! The splotches on the apron. Duh! Nice. Nice, coffee boy. There wasn't anything that caught my interest when I saw her from the front. Nothing? Mr. Kudo, I would like you to please take a look at this. That filthy thing would suit filth like you just perfect. Excuse me, rude. Actually, it reminds me of what my grandson looks like just after he's done eating. Have you ever seen this before? Of course I haven't. Do you think I'd forget something as dirty as that? Well, you half-witted clot. Oh? Seems like everyone's kind of in agreement here. What is it? Ever since I said you half-witted clot, there's been an eerie silence around here. Mr. Kudo, this apron is the apron worn by the defendant on the day of the poisoning. Ha! And as you just said yourself, you wouldn't forget something like this. Which means if you had really seen this apron before... Yes, you know what I'm getting at now. You couldn't have possibly seen the waitress from the front. Oops. That's it? That's all you got? Oops. Oops. Witness. You can't just oops your way out of this. Let him have it, Your Honor. Let it rip. Huh. Well, well. Looks like we finally have a genuine trial on our hands. Listen, Trite, here are the facts. On the day of the incident, there was only one waitress in the restaurant. That being the defendant, Ms. Maggie BYRD, correct? Exactly. And when that one waitress put the poison into the coffee cup, this old guy was watching. I hope you understand the gravity of the situation, Mr. Kudo. The fate of the defendant may rest on what you say, you remember seeing. Just tell the court exactly what you saw, Gramps. You can rely on me, Captain. My noggin's in perfect working order. I can't remember a single occasion when I forgot what burger a customer wanted. He can't remember? Probably more like he messed up so many times he's blocking it out. Very well. Let's test just how good your memory and attention to detail is, Mr. Kudo. I'm willing to bet not very good. Tell us what you remember about the victim. Bum bum bum. He was another of those pesky young types wearing a broken pair of spectacles. Okay. Spectacle, singular I'd say, but alright. He had a newspaper in his right hand, and the noisy brat kept rustling its pages. The young man was listening to the wireless, the radio. I remember that well. Then the serving girl in question brought over the Javachino. The little fidget picked up the cup with his free hand and took a sip. Ah! The testimony we have just heard was to test how credible the witness's memory is. It seems to me that he remembers the victim in a great deal of detail. Oh yes, I hate those you-know-what types. How are we going to handle this, Nick? We only need to do one thing. We just need to prove that the old man's memory is shot. Just trip him up, you mean? Isn't that kind of cruel? I suppose, but it's what I do best. Boom, boom, boom. About the victim. He was another of those pesky young types wearing a broken pair of spectacles. Spectacles. Dark glasses to you. One of the lenses was green, but the other was broken. I don't know if it was really broken. I just kind of thought it was part of his design. Newfangled rubbish. That's why I remember him so well. Now, why would he be wearing it, though? He did have some kind of lens over his left eye, but I wouldn't have called it a pair of glasses. He seems to have been wearing some rather modern-looking shades. Perhaps I should take to wearing some and rival Mr. Godot's sharp appearance. Your Honor, I'll pay for it. I would love to see you in something like that. We better come up with something sharp and quick. Guess I'll wait and see if I should challenge him about the spectacles. He had a newspaper in his right hand, and the noisy brat kept rustling its pages. I will say, right away, it seems like the newspaper I thought was on the left side of the table, but I could be wrong. I thought there was a photo. Maybe it was just like a flashback, but I thought the newspaper was on his right side, but he easily could have set it down when he drank the coffee. The newspaper was a sports paper, right? That young hooligan. I nearly asked him, can't you even read without fidgeting? How was I supposed to be able to read the back page with all that rustling going on? I needed to find out if Guts and Brawn retained his championship title. It was his paper, not yours. If you wanted to know so bad, why didn't you buy your own? What are you looking at me like that for, How dare you judge me? Guts and Brawn got beaten yesterday, by the way. Anyway, sorry, Gutson. The young man was listening to the wireless. I remember that well. The wireless. The decadent young rascal. In my day, it was one or the other. Read the paper or listen to the wireless. Oh boy. And using an earpiece. It's selfish, that's what it is. It's the exact opposite of selfish. I hate when people play things through their speakers. I was straining my ears, but I couldn't catch any of it. Was he that desperate to listen to the radio? What are you looking at me like that for, huh? Sorry, Your Honor, are we just gonna let this continue? Do we have a janitorial crew that's gonna clean this up? I feel bad for them, to be honest. Then the serving girl in question brought over the Javachino. You mean the waitress who you only saw from behind, right? You're one of those, are you? You never let anything go. Maybe. What does it matter if I saw her from the front or from the back? I better not push it until I get some hard evidence. The little fidget picked up the cup with his free hand and took a sip. So that would imply he picked it up with his left hand, right? Yes. Which hand was that? Weren't you listening before, cloth ears? Excuse me. I said he was rustling the newspaper with his right hand, didn't I? If his right or his free hand... Ow! Ow! Perhaps the great Mr. Trite has 3 hands. Okay, buddy. I was only asking. No need to gang up on me and treat me like a freak. The whole point of this cross-examination is to establish just one thing. That this old guy's memory has more holes than a slice of Swiss. I guess we just need to find a contradiction in his testimony, huh? Anything will do, even the smallest detail. We just need one mistake. Okay. Wearing a broken pair of spectacles. I don't think I can really push it on it. I mean, I guess it's just up to opinion if you think what he's got on spectacles. I don't think those are spectacles. He had a newspaper in his right hand, and the noisy brat kept rustling its pages. The young man was listening to the wireless. I remember that well. Then the serving girl in question brought over the Javachino, and the little fidget picked up the cup with his free hand and took a sip. The problem is... this doesn't really show what hand he was using, does it? Does the... Oh, wait. This does. This does. And you know why it does? Because if you pick up the coffee cup with your left hand, then the stain would have been on the other side of the mug. Now, guilty as charged. I have picked a coffee cup up from the base and not from the handle. However, it's not often, and I think this is what we're going for. Objection! Got him. Mr. Kudo, do you remember what you were told at the start of this testimony? That this was a way of testing the credibility of your memory? I know. There's nothing wrong with my memory, I tell you, nothing. If I got anything wrong, I'll eat these seeds and sing the pigeon song. All right, well, get warming up. Do, re, mi, fa, so, buddy. Care to tell us where this is going, Trite? According to Mr. Kudo, the victim was holding the paper in his right hand, while drinking coffee with his free hand, which would have been his left. And what is this, kindergarten? But I would like the court to please take a look at this. That's the cup that the victim used, correct? Yeah, and on the rim, you'll notice the mark left by the victim's lips. Ah! There's a stain left by the coffee. If you consider where that stain is, you'll clearly see that the victim was holding the cup in his right hand. But how? Well, Mr. Kudo, the court is waiting for your epic performance. You said you'd eat those seeds and sing the pigeon song. Come on, let's hear it. Mr. Kudo, I'm afraid this is simply not acceptable. I think the witness... Whoa! Wait! Why is he so insistent? If you think I'm going to stand here and listen to you tell me I'm mad, you're wrong. I don't care about that dirty coffee cup. I know what I saw. You still insist on your testimony? That young brat was holding the cup in his left hand. Oh, yes, no question. I'm a good law-abiding citizen, I am. It's that dead young hotbot and you spiky-haired yahoo, who are at fault. Me? Thank you, old man. We've heard quite enough from you already. Don't call me old man, old man. Been around for 68 years, I have. You can't ignore me. Listen to what I've got to say. Oh. I'm sorry, Mr. Kudo, but sure. Why not hear a little more? Mr. Kudo. But this is my 16th cup of coffee. We're getting up there. So this is your final stand. Thank you, Captain. You can rely on Victor. Interesting. I wonder what's going to happen here. He says he always wraps up a trial by his 17th cup of coffee. Ah. Left or right hand? Oh, epic final showdown music. The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs, which would be the left side. Is that true? We can't tell. Alright, I'll take his word for it. He kept fiddling with it all the time. He was fiddling with it just before he picked up the cup, too. Fiddles with the earpiece with his left hand, picks up the cup, and then he used the same hand to pick up the cup, his left hand. We know that the victim was wearing an unusual monocle over his left eye. It wasn't a monocle, Your Honor. It was a small computer monitor often used by programmers. A monitor? You mean like a television screen? The inside of the lens is a screen that displays computer data. It's called an HMD, a common tool in the victim's line of work. HD, TV, DVD, CD, all these newfangled letters drive me mad. But they don't matter. I know what I saw, and I'm telling the truth. It's true, he doesn't seem to be lying. And those are the facts, in good old black and white. Okay. The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. So the victim was wearing an HMD. There was none of them, actually, but anyway. You're sure that he was wearing the earpiece on the same side? No question. I could only see that side of his head from where I was sitting. Yeah, that's pretty obvious if you look at the floor plans. Okay. From the opposite table, he'd only have a view of the side of the victim's head. He kept fiddling with it all the time. It seems you kept an eye on Mr. Glenn Elg. He was getting on my nerves, rustling that newspaper and fiddling with his earpiece all the time. And then he went and made all that fuss dying from one sip of Javicino. Not what he died from, by the way. I wanted to say to him, calm down, you young brat. Just looking at him made me suddenly speed up my seed eating. I could have choked. So I take it the victim was a walking ball of nervous energy. I wonder why. He was fiddling with it just before he picked up the cup. The earpiece you mentioned. Which hand did the victim touch it with? You're one of those people, aren't you? You're the type that uses your left hand to get things out of your right pocket. Do people do that? Is that a thing? I've done it before, probably. Because, like, my right hand might have had something, and, like, maybe my wallet was in my right pocket, but, like, I wouldn't call myself one of those people who does that on the regular. I feel like that's just kind of something you do, and you're like, dang, this is unfortunate, but it's just a minor inconvenience. But do people do that? I don't think anyone does that all the time, old man. I think you're making that one up. I don't know. Or fastens your left cuff with your right hand. Wait, left cuff? That seems correct to do. If I'm thinking of a cuff right. Like a cuff link or a sleeve of a shirt, you would adjust that with your... I don't know what this guy's talking about. And when the tour guide says, on your right side, you'll see the famous blah, blah, you're the only person who deliberately looks left. Okay, that I do not do. And I don't think anyone... I think he's just ranting. No, I didn't mean... Obviously, he used the hand on the same side of his body that the earpiece was in. Okay, well, I do sometimes fix my headphones with one hand if I'm running or something. Because I'll have my phone in my left hand as I'm running. And so I'll adjust my... Okay, I don't need to defend myself to this fictional old man. This is... So if he had the HMD on his left side, then it was his left hand, I guess. And then he used the same hand to pick up the cup. His left hand. You seem very sure of yourself, Mr. Kudo. That's because I know what I saw, no matter what tricks you try to play on me. It looks like he really did see the guy picking the cup up with his left hand. This is a dead end. Well, Nick, what do you think? I think the guy's telling the truth. But even so, something's not quite right. And chuck evidence at him until he breaks. But if he's not lying, there wouldn't be any contradictions in his testimony, right? Man, I don't know. Okay. The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. He kept fiddling with it all the time. Presumably, maybe he was waiting to hear something on the radio. Oh, the lottery numbers. He was waiting to hear the lottery numbers, I bet. And he was nervous because it was getting closer and closer to him hitting the lottery. Okay. He was fiddling with it just before he picked up the cup, too. And then he used the same hand to pick up the cup. His left hand. The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. Is there anything that I don't think we can see the earpiece in here. No. How could we prove that maybe he wasn't wearing it on that ear? Can we just ask them to confirm? So they're saying that the angle that's down is where the earpiece was. Coffee container. The lottery ticket. Wait a second. Hang on. He was fiddling with his left ear because he was putting the medicine in, right? He kept fiddling with it all the time because wasn't he putting his medicine in there? It seems you kept an eye on Mr. Glenn. Interesting. I wonder if that's it. He was fiddling with it just before he picked up the cup. Okay. Which hand did the victim touch it with? He touched it with his left hand. If he had the HMD on his left side, then it was his left hand that he touched it with. So if he touches it with his left hand, how can we explain then that the sip mark on the other side of the cup, and then he used the same hand to pick up the cup, his left hand. Okay. He used the same hand to pick up the cup, his left hand. Do I have anything that disputes that? The victim got this from the doctor before going to Tribulations. The bag is empty. And we know that it was something that you put in your ear. So it made sense that he was putting something, he was fiddling with his ear, right? We are very close. There's got to be a contradiction. The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. He kept fiddling with it. He was fiddling with it just before he picked up the cup. I think this is worth an objection. So he's fiddling with it. It doesn't explain why the coffee stain's on the wrong side of the cup, though. Does it? I mean, I guess he could have just grabbed it from the base. But if he grabs it from the base, he's fiddling with it just before he picked up the cup. Objection! Yes! Yes. Dude, we're on one today. If you discount the first 20 minutes of stream. I'm not sure what the relevance of this is, but Mr. Kudo, there is something very strange about your observation of the victim. What? You say he was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the HMD. No question. You can lock me up if I'm wrong. Oh, well, I have bad news for you, buddy. It was his left ear, without a doubt. I could only see that side of his head from where I was sitting. I don't think so. What did you say? You're no doubt unaware of this fact, Mr. Kudo. But the victim couldn't hear with his left ear. His eardrum was ruptured. Traces of medication for his condition were found in his ear canal. That's right. It's impossible that the victim was wearing his earpiece in his left ear, because he couldn't even hear in that one. Is that true, Captain? It is. Pigeon! Pretty pigeon. Order! This witness's testimony is completely unreliable. He only saw the waitress from behind, and he claims the victim was wearing an earpiece when we know his eardrum was ruptured. Well, Mr. Godot, a single drop of milk is all it takes to destroy the pure black magic in the cup. This old man is my drop of milk. Captain, are you calling me a drip? The betrayal. This is the victim's coffee cup in which the potassium cyanide was found. The mark on the rim clearly shows that the victim picked it up with his right hand. I'll never back down. I know I'm right. The lad drank his Javachino with his left hand. Let me put you out of your misery. Clearly, the victim used both hands. He took a sip with the cup held in his right hand and then switched to his left. That's what the old man saw. Objection! Impossible. The witness has already testified on numerous occasions that the victim died immediately after taking just one sip of the coffee. Objection! Which hand the victim used to pick up his cup is irrelevant, Your Honor. The facts still stand. With one hand or the other, Mr. Elg drank the poisoned coffee like this. Sadly, Mr. Godot, that doesn't wash. The point of this testimony was to establish whether the witness's memory is credible. And the results are clear. The testimony given by this witness is useless. Ba-dum-bum-bum. I believe it is time to conclude today's proceedings. I'm satisfied that the witness is not deceiving the court, but to be frank, his testimony is a farce. Did you have to be so frank? Okay, I don't know if you said to lock you up if you were lying, and so, like, I don't know if you should be throwing seeds at the judge because, like, you're kind of in a pickle right now, buddy. Sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Kudo. You can't reach me from there. I'm ordering the defense and the prosecution to investigate this case further. That is all for now. This court is adjourned. Oh! Not what I thought was going to happen. Wait! If we stop now, where does that leave me? Leave you, Mr. Kudo? Thanks to that blue-suited young upstart over there, I'm just a bumbling old man who can't even dot his T's or cross his I's now. How is your bad memory my fault? I'm sorry, Mr. Kudo, but there's nothing I can do. I've kept my mouth shut until now. Oh, no. But there's something else the court should know. Oh, no. What are... Mr. Kudo. What? There's more? To be perfectly honest, this guy has main character syndrome for sure, by the way. To be perfectly honest, it might not be anything, but I want another chance. I want another crack at you, you young shark. Me? He's looking at me like I'm some sort of evil shogun. Well, everyone, what do you say to one final showdown? The final chapter in this eccentric old man's scrapbook. Sorry, Gramps. I've already had my 17th cup of coffee. What have you got to lose, Captain? I'll give you all the Javicino you want if you come to my house after the trial. I may be 68 years old, but Victor Kudo is still a man. That's enough, witness. I believe it will be quicker for the court to just hear your testimony. You fold like that, Your Honor? Where's your backbone? You bet. Much, much quicker. I can't believe this is happening. Me either. You better get ready, youngster. I get the picture. Just quit throwing those seeds at me, would you? He's got to be using some sort of infinite ammo with that box of seeds. The final showdown. First of all, I want to stress that this might be nothing. I'm not too sure of myself. The young boy slumped over the table as soon as he took one sip of his Javicino. Well, the clumsy idiot upset the vase. He knocked it right over. It broke, and the strip of cloth covering the table got completely soaked. Well, how about that? Turn things upside down, I don't think so. Is that all? Yes, that's all. I remember it perfectly. You're doubting me again? You're doubting a poor, defenseless old man? No, we're not doubting you, Mr. Kudo. Don't you get the feeling there's a question hanging on everyone's lips, Nick? Yeah, so what? Probably. That's all I can think of, and I have to cross-examine this guy. You're a bird brain. That's why that's all you can think of. Is he eavesdropping? I guess that is what he's best for. Very well, Mr. Wright. Your final cross-examination, please. I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but okay. This testimony seems pretty useless. First of all, I want to stress that this might not be anything. The court generally prefers if witnesses are sure of themselves, Mr. Kudo. Noisy brat. I'm warning you, I'm more savage than a macho man right now. You won't beat me with this testimony. This is the final battle. He's chucking those seeds harder than ever. He's got an arm for him at 68, huh? Come on, Nick, nail him. Can I throw him back? The young boy slumped over the table as soon as he took one sip of his Javachino. The court's already heard that testimony, Mr. Kudo. I know that. I was just setting the mood. How else am I supposed to build up the suspense, The suspense? Now, what do you think? Should I work the audience a bit more? No, please continue, Mr. Kudo, as quickly as possible. Now, where was I? The young boy slumped over the table and, well, the clumsy idiot upset the vase. He knocked it right over. Wouldn't call him a clumsy idiot. I can't say it's his fault that he died. A vase, you say? Yes, there are vases on all the tables in that place. There are accidents waiting to happen. They're practically begging to be knocked over. He's right about there being vases. I do remember seeing them as well. There was a vase on the table when I ate lunch there. But the vase... I mean, I guess they could have just reset it up, right? And you saw the moment when the victim actually knocked over the vase? Well, it's hard to say. It's a bit unclear. How do you really define... Okay, I get it. I heard it break, and the sight of it is burned into my memory, clear as day. It broke, and the strip of cloth covering the table got completely soaked. Soaked in water, you mean? Yes, it splashed me on the knee as well. You said you were sitting at the table across the room from the victim, yeah? And yet, the water still managed to splash onto you? It was cold. I clearly remember it splashing me. Could the water really make it all the way across to the other side of the room? I mean, I guess if it spilled hard. He's really giving you the evil eye, Maya. It's you he's looking at, Nick, not me. It's like he's saying, I triple dog dare you to find a contradiction, youngin'. I guess I'll just have to rise to the challenge then. It was this one I didn't press on. Turn things upside down, You mean the vase on the victim's table falling upside down and breaking? The vase turned upside down, and my testimony's turning this case upside down. It's a joke. It's just a joke. I just wanted everyone to hear it. What do you think, Captain? What is this guy's, like, romantic affiliation with Godot? He loves this dude. I'm impressed by your ability to waste time. Godot hasn't raised any objections for a while now. So, you young show-off, with that scrap of information, I'm throwing down the gauntlet. If I lose this one, I'll take it like a man and admit defeat. Alright, so what do we think is to be pressed here? The young boy slumped over the table as soon as he took one sip of his Javachino. The clumsy idiot upset the vase and knocked it right over. It broke, and the strip of cloth covering the table got completely soaked. Okay. The question now would be, was there anything on the table that would have gotten soaked? He was reading the sports magazine, right? Oh, this does look wet. It could have been from the coffee, though. A photo of the scene, and the vase is literally standing up. Okay. Sorry, old man, but I don't know how this one's gonna fare for you. I think it's time to go back to your room, old man. He knocked it right over. Then who put it back up? Mr. Kudo, this is a photograph of the crime scene. So what? Look carefully at the table. The vase is there. Intact. Huh? Lost your tongue, Granddad. I'm no granddad of yours, Hopscotch. Ow. Ow. Enough. If you throw any more seeds in this courtroom, the cleaners will be here all night. What is it now? Why did you yell? I just remembered something. Your Honor, How much longer are we gonna let this guy speak? Yes? Go on. The broken vase. It was on my table. It was on his table. Okay. It was on, so, It was on, Okay. Clearly, this guy's not fit to give testimony, Your Honor. I think we can call it a day. You can go get some lunch. You can go get some lunch. Me and you can. I'll even maybe pay for it. If you want to swing me a little favor tomorrow in the trial, but, yeah, we're done here. We are done here. Well, you see, it startled me when that young lad collapsed. So I stood up. That must have been when it fell over. The vase on my table, I mean. On your table. Yes, it was on my table. And that's how my groin came to be completely soaked, you son of a gun. This guy's a disaster. Oh, he looks so cocky. I think we're done here. I think we're done here. Thank you, Mr. Kudo. You've certainly earned your kudos for today. I'd like to ask a question now. Too bad. Your time's done. Have I been any use at all? Kindly? Not one bit. Perhaps that's something you should reflect on yourself, Mr. Kudo. Wait a minute. If that's the case, there's more. I've got more to say. Yes, I remember something else. Bailiff, escort the witness out of the courtroom. Sorry, buddy, but you gotta go. That's so funny. They had to drag him off there. We seem to have been considerably sidetracked, and I'm still not in a position to deliver a verdict. The defendant has not been positively identified as the waitress in question. Additionally, there are 2 disparities in the testimony we have heard thus far. The mark on the coffee cup that the victim supposedly drank from with his left hand, and the earpiece which was inserted into his left ear, out of which he couldn't hear. Wow, Nick, you did it. I therefore require both the defense and the prosecution to further investigate the facts. Yes, Your Honor. Oh, he's pissed. There is one more thing before I call today's session to an end. One more thing, Your Honor. The witness we just heard from, he is most insistent that his testimony should be of use, so he summarized it accordingly into this statement. Okay? You may each have a copy of it if you wish. Whatever. The prosecution doesn't need props like that. Godot's really mad, huh? Yeah, I would be too. Very well. Here you are then, Mr. Wright. There are 3 copies. My own, yours, and Mr. Godot's. Yes, Your Honor. Victor's testimony added to the court record. When the incident occurred, I broke the vase at my seat. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This isn't a piece of testimony. More like a 5-year-old's apology. What the heck are we supposed to do with 3 copies? That's all. This court is now actually adjourned. Hold it! Just kidding. To be continued. 2 hours up on the dot. How about that for timing? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And when we return to Ace Attorney, it will be January 7th at 12:52 p.m. However, that will not be today. Dun, dun, dun. We're going to call it here after that court session. That was a good one. I feel like we actually did pretty well. I think we did pretty good. There's a lot going on in this case. I feel like this is going to end up being a full 3-day one. I think in the last game, the circus case was the 3rd case in the game, and I think it was only 2 days if I remember right. But in the first Ace Attorney game, the 3rd case was 3 days. This one definitely seems like it's heading down the 3-day route. So we might be here for a while. But I'm down because there's a lot of cool mysteries going on. The coffee cup I think is very intriguing. I'm also very interested in where Victor's testimony goes. I don't think they put us through all that for nothing. And with his little testimony slip that they gave us at the end where it does talk about him knocking over the vase, I'm curious as to where that comes into play. I don't know. And I also don't know who the witness is going to be on the next one. We've already done Gumshoe and now Victor Kudo, so maybe the restaurant owner or maybe a new person that we meet. And then I'm very, very curious about the girl that we met at the restaurant, who we don't know her name, but I'm almost certain that she's in on this now because it really looked like her from behind. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I'm very excited. I think that this is a fun case. A little goofy, a little silly, but I think it's very Ace Attorney, so I'm enjoying it. Okay, well, we got a little matinee on Saturday. I think it's Valorant scheduled for around 1. I think I might end up pushing it to like 2 or something, maybe. And we might end up playing another game, or maybe we play Valorant for a little bit and do something else. It's really just a placeholder. But that'll do it for tonight. So whether you're just waking up in the morning, stopping by on your lunch break, or settling in after dinner, thanks for hanging out and having a cup of coffee with me. I will see you Saturday for the Valorant stream, or I will see you next week for the Ace Attorney stream. See ya!